Hey, my name's Communique, and welcome back to Fortnite. Now, today I just wanted to quickly rant about a few things. Mostly I wanted to rant quickly about the Bytes quests here. So, the Bytes quests, if you don't know, basically require you to play as a character named Bytes, who's kind of just a dude with some of the chrome from Fortnite's new season on his hands, and it transforms into a weapon sometimes. They decided to give this guy a fully fleshed out backstory for some reason, or at least contact with a shadow organization headed by a mysterious leader called the Nothing. And you have to play as this guy for who knows how long in order to unlock a bunch of weapon styles. Now, as an avid writer and an avid role player, I understand wanting to give your character's backstory. So, I do like that. I like having the player play as a character in order to experience their backstory, give lore to the character. That is really cool. But who I would not give lore to, out of any of these characters, the only person I would not give lore to is Bytes. And this is for one reason. And this is that questions need answered. And so when we go through each character, I choose the person with the most questions attributed to that character to have a backstory in order to answer said questions. Bytes has one question, and that is, how does he control Chrome? But that's not really much of a problem, because we know that by going into the thing, there's little encasements of Chrome that you can throw at your feet, and then you turn to Chrome. So he's not really all that special. Also, he has really spindly legs. This is just a personal thing. This isn't part of my main rant at all. But just look at those legs. This thing could barely support anyone. Like, dude.
He needs to eat pasta.
What?
He needs to eat some pasta.
Yes, precisely. Thank you, Taurus, for popping in to say, yes, precisely. He needs to eat some pasta. His legs are kind of disproportionate to the rest of his body, which is okay. It's just like, for a fighting game, you'd feel like you'd need some big legs to be able to run like the size of an island. I don't know, and it's clear that his legs aren't chrome because he's ripped here, and you can see his pants are ripped here, and you can see that it's just his normal skin. So, his legs are directly up. He has no kneecaps or no knees at all. They're very small for him. I don't know what went on with the character design here, but that's just my personal thing. That's not the main rant at all. The main rant is that this guy got a full fleshed out backstory, while the rest of the characters with actual questions as to who they are got nothing but a weak description as to anything. Our first example here. Okay, so let's go through the ones that we already know. Paradigm has a full backstory as one of the 7. We almost see her in every single thing, every single video or lore video at the start of the season for the past chapter. So she's already got enough of a backstory, and I get that. Bytes, his literally only... Going by my thing earlier when I said I was an avid writer and avid role player, so I go by basically who has the most questions, and they should get the biggest backstory. Again, only question for Bytes is, how did he manage to control Chrome and not become all Chrome? But that's not much of a backstory. I mean, I kind of assumed that you could probably, with enough willpower, manage to make that Chrome only go where you want it to, like your hands. His description basically says, few survive the journey into darkness. I mean, basic there. That goes for the real world too, I guess. I mean, There's nothing that would be precisely pique my interest about few survive the journey into darkness. It's just a statement at that point. And I mean, I kind of see the backstory there. I kind of see chance for it, but I wouldn't really go for it. I mean, nothing on his suit even gives me an idea as to, this character really needs a backstory. I really want to know what's going on. I mean, hollow. Yeah, he looks kind of hollow. If you look in his eyes, he has chrome hands. He can turn his hand into chrome. I really don't get much with this character. Paradigm, again, backstory in all the videos. Grizz has pretty much a full-fledged backstory within his song, Ballad of Little Grizz. It's an absolute bop, so listen to that, but I'm not going to listen to the whole few minutes of it. Basically, what it says is that he was ridiculed for being such a small bear, but using his smarts, he built a massive bear and just showed him all his boss. That's really cool, and he's got the backstory for it. He doesn't really need much else. Now, oh yes, okay, Mousecles is just kind of a remixed version of Mousecles. It's just a girl, yeah. Mousecles. I'm really... Again, no need for a backstory there, because it's just a chiller version of Mousecles who also happens to be female. I mean, no real backstory needed there, because it's just a remixed version of a character who already exists. Now we get to my favorite character. Actually, not. Her design kind of sucks, because it's... I mean... Well, actually, no, her main design is fine. Her main design is fine. Some of her styles look like ripoffs of other characters. But no, Lennox Rose's main outfit is fine. Her design is fine. But there's a few immediate There's a few immediate questions that come to mind here. And this character, I feel, is the best out of all the Battle Pass to give a player, as in, make the player play as this character to unlock a backstory. More than Bytes, this character deserves it, and let's see why. I'm gonna go through just a couple of things, because, who is she? What is the Academy? Who's next? What does that V on her shoulder mean? And why does she have a bunny who is apparently sentient and can wield guns on her back? Take that, crumbs for hands. I'm sorry, laughing at my own joke. Okay, but seriously. Let's go through these a little bit more. Lennox Rose is a very interesting name because, you know, that's kind of a reverse name. Lennox is mainly used as a last name, and Rose is normally used as a first name. So that's very interesting. Perhaps her real name is Rose Lennox, and she just mixed it up. Precisely. There's a storyline already. Why did she mix up her name? Because that's definitely not a very normal styled name. And while I'm not a fan of normally styled names, that certainly seems like a point that a character would choose. As a writer, again, that seems like a character choice made somewhere along that, somewhere along their line of path of story to change that name or switch it around to make it less natural or perhaps to avoid surveillance. And that is where we lead next. Let's look at her description here. The first to escape the Academy, but not the last. I want to point out a few massive things right here within only a few words. And yes, I know I sound like MatPat with this, like, massive... Hello, Internet, and welcome to Game Theory! The first to escape the Academy. So this implies that there is a The Academy, not just an academy that happens to be very oppressive. The Academy. You can tell because it's in caps here. When something is capitalized, it means it's important. The Academy. Also, the first to escape the Academy. This implies other people have tried to escape this Academy. They have failed, and there's others. So she is the first to escape this shadowy Academy who apparently imprisons who goes there. So that is already a very interesting backstory. It piques my interest whatsoever. And trust me, being on the Wings of Fire wiki, where the only thing you see in the roleplay board is academies, academies, and academies, trust me, when an academy piques my interest, you better believe it's something I'm interested in. Okay, so second of all, we have no normal title for this The Academy. But it's capitalized. We know it's important. We know it's important to her, and she's apparently escaped it. So that's very interesting already. But not the last implies that there are others, and that there are others who will be determined, who are predetermined by Fortnite to escape the Academy as well. That is very interesting, because that implies that the Academy might have a larger role, but unfortunately, like those other anime, that other anime pack where we got, like, there were 3, there was, like, a hacker, a converted guard, and, like, I don't know, I forget, but they also had a very interesting thing going with their descriptions, and it looked like we might get more of interest into that, and it just never happened. So I was really disappointed when that just didn't go anywhere. But the Academy, but she's part of the Battle Pass. She's not like an optional buy this if you want thing. She's part of the Battle Pass. She has a place in this season. Obviously, somehow. So, obviously she looks very dangerous. So there's a point to that. Get it? I didn't intend to make that pun, but with how many points her suit has, it's a pun now. After the name and being the first to escape the Academy, but not the last, all of those points gone. We have a couple of more things on her suit itself, her outfit itself, and her back bling that make even more questions that need to be answered here. More so than Bytes, again, who actually got the long-running quest here. Because, again, like I said earlier, all he has is a thing that says hollow, which kind of explains itself. Oh, yeah, and he also has this he has this necklace? It doesn't look like it should go anywhere, because there's nothing around his neck. But it has a weird little symbol on it. I mean, okay, I'll give it Bytes. He has 2 questions. Bytes has 2 questions. Well, how does he not turn fully into Chrome, and there's a weird necklace he has? I mean, I'm not really that peaked for that. But, with Lennox Rose, we have another couple of things here. She has a gun. She apparently escaped. I know, a lot of you are thinking, well, most Fortnite characters have a gun holster on their side. But here's the thing. If she's young enough to apparently go to an academy and then immediately escape it once it apparently imprisons, I guess, whoever goes there, then we're assuming that this academy is actually a lot more dark than it seems. But she also has a gun, like, directly out of escaping this academy, I assume. So this implies that she is consistently under watch or surveillance or something like that, and she needs that to protect herself. So immediately, we have that as a main reason, as a main interest here. We also have a V on her shoulder. Now, like Bytes' and I will use Bytes as an example, because the necklace thing is interesting. Like Bytes' weird necklace symbol, this V doesn't have any significance except it being a V. That makes it interesting to me, just like Bytes' necklace, which is the only thing remotely interesting about it. The Academy does not have a V. Lennox Rose does not have a V. Her back bling does not have a V. There is no real reason for this suit to have a V on it, but it does. That makes it significant, because that makes it mean that there's something else there that we don't know about, but there's a V there. That's really darn cool. That piques my interest again. Is there anything else directly on her suit that we can decipher? Not really. I think that's pretty much all she has on her main. Also, I'm not sure if this is just a back bling or supposedly a sentient creature, but from her loading screen here, yes, this is a sentient bunny, and it can fire a weapon. I really like this loading screen, by the way. Whoever drew this is really good. We can examine this later, but yes, we can decipher from this that this is a sentient... But I didn't even notice that before. Does it still have the... You see on the neck there? There's like a rope around the bunny's neck. Does it have that and like now? Okay, it does. But it's more of a necklace now. So this implies a different... So this implies a time shift as well. So this was taken at a different moment than this was. So this thing didn't happen yesterday. This is some other form after a fact, after a place. So after something happened. So this is very interesting already. Sentient bunny who can wield weapons implies something like Rocket Raccoon from Guardians of the Galaxy. So there's animal testing going on at the Academy, I assume, or something. It has buttons for eyes, and yet it is definitely sentient because it is shooting a gun in her loading screen. So I don't really know how that works, but that only adds to the mystique, and that is really cool. Her other styles aren't really much, except that, you know, she still has a V, which means this is a recurring theme throughout her character. She never removes the V, which means that V really does have significance to her character for some reason. And she likes to paint. Okay, not really much there, but still. Again, very cool loading screen. If any of you could find anything different or more about that. I see grenades being thrown in the background, but I don't... Although they kind of don't look like... They kind of look like gas, to be honest. Not like... I don't know. And maybe I'm just trying to glean too much from where there's none. And you might be thinking... I love this monologue so far. And you'd be right. You should love this monologue so far. However... Oh, yeah, and let's not forget the glider, which is kind of a ripoff of Lexa's. But it's also really cool because apparently this Academy student who escaped an Academy also has a magno repulsor board that allows her to fly from somewhere. That also is really darn cool. But we're not done yet. You might be thinking, I love this monologue, but where can you go from this? While Lennox Rose is obviously the most obvious and easy choice to give a backstory to, and my personal conclusion on Lennox Rose would basically be give her a backstory where there are supposed agents from this academy that are trying to track her down, so you have to play as her to, like, get XP, do specific things, to evade such capture, and do other things to get other styles and things. I think that would be a really cool idea. You could have a specific thing with the hair, changing the hair color, changing a jacket, you know what I mean? To keep surveillance. And I don't know, maybe you could have the bunny be the narrator so that you can, like, the bunny is actually leading her through all the things that you need to. So the bunny would take the place of the nothing, basically. So if she was, got the quest instead of Bytes. But we're still not done. We have another character, and this is a lot simpler of a character to explain. But this character also deserves a backstory. More than very, very, very skinny-legged Bytes here. Because I want to point out, everywhere else in the large legs here... she's a cat, she doesn't really count. Still, you're about to see what I'm about to talk about here. Still... good-sized legs, finely sized legs. Legs are fine, good, of normal proportion. And then you get to Bytes. And he's barely got knees. The man's got no knees. But, back to Twin. Twin is very interesting, because, first of all, his thing doesn't really have much of a icon. He has a glowing cape. I mean, cool and all. You know, he doesn't really have much. He has some glowing eyes. You know, it's not incredibly. There's nothing on his suit that would make me particularly interested until you get to his built-in emote and his description. Oh, and his name, but we're gonna get to that later. The Peace Syndicate's multifaceted Master Scout. Okay, so the Peace Syndicate, if you might remember that name if you've been paying attention to the descriptions, which is funny because it seems like only I do because I never see anyone who wants to look into descriptions. But if you go to Eevee, which is from last season, I think it was last season, it might have been the season before, Criminal Vigilante and the Peace Syndicate's secret weapon. This is an organization that has been building up over the past season or two since the Vibin season, with Eevee in it. That has had no plot relevance whatsoever, but they keep using the name. So I have complete reason to believe that this is going to be brought up in a later season. This will become a thing that you're going to have to pay attention to. So just trust me on this. I think Twin and Eevee and all those characters are probably going to get their backstory at some point anyways, because it seems like Epic is slowly releasing these characters affiliated with the Peace Syndicate. That's on purpose, I assume. If it's not on purpose, I'm very disappointed, and they're just adding another shadowy secret organization that serves no point. I will be very disappointed. But, hey, it's not done. We're not done yet. I'm not saying that's just a theory. Anyway, actually, that is just a theory. But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory. The Peace Syndicate's multifaceted Master Scout. So we've already gone over the Peace Syndicate and how weird that is that there's been a build-up of characters affiliated with it, but we don't know what it is. They haven't had any plot relevance whatsoever. Master Scout implies that there's something that needs scouting for the Peace Syndicate, which means they might be making a play for power soon, so watch that in the next season or maybe the season after that. But apart from that, you might be thinking, you know what? There's nothing more to this guy. There's nothing at all that he could do that's more. You know, he's just the scout for a shadowy organization. But he's not. Because Twin UC has a completely alternate style that turns him into a completely different character. Absolutely, with just a pair of glasses. Glasses alone, the glasses you see on his jacket here, turn him into a completely different person. So he completely changes basically anything you could think about anyone. They completely become a completely different person. Green to blue, male to female, whatever. And totally different vibe as well, because Twin seems very stoic and very small, and very, not small, but he seems very stoic and almost a little depressed. And then he turns into this character called Strider, and she's already punching as soon as she gets out the gate. So she's an extrovert, and he seems more introverted. So we have a very interesting thing here, because how is this happening? Is it just a character he's designed? Is he just a shapeshifter with a pair of glasses that turns him into something? Or is it a twin flame that he just swaps places with whenever he puts on the glasses? Or B, is it someone trapped inside a web or inside the web or glasses that he can literally swap places with? Because this kind of seems what's happening here. He suddenly goes into the glasses and she comes out of them. She also... Oh, you know what? That's very interesting. Is it just... I wonder if maybe it's kind of like the alien lady, because whenever she takes... She looks like she takes off invisible glasses and then becomes him again. So he might just be a spy with some really good shape-shifting tech that just allows him to put on a disguise whenever he... But he looks almost like he's swapping with another person whenever he does that. He looks almost like he's going inside the glasses and she's coming out. And then whenever she takes off said glasses, she goes back inside the glasses. And it's very interesting here. Because what are we doing? Is he just a shapeshifter? Is he just has a good disguise trapped in the glasses? Is there somebody trapped in the glasses that's an actual person? Is it a twin flame here because she's called Twin? I mean, he's called Twin, sorry. They're a very interesting character. They're a very interesting duo as well, because I guess you could just count it at he's disguising himself. But they totally have a different vibe. As soon as they say, I'm leaning toward more this is a different character entirely. Because while it kind of looks like he puts on the glasses and disguises himself, he literally looks like he digitizes into nothing and then she comes out and she has a completely different personality. And I would say, like, they would be the same personality if they were the same person. But it doesn't look like that. She doesn't really have much on her thing on her person either. There's a power button on the back and a thing that says truth or dare. I mean, there's nothing much on her shirt that would give me any other idea. But this emote is very interesting, because who is this and who's the other guy? Are they the same person? Because I don't think they are. And how are they not different people, but it's the same person? Because that's the same person, but they're different people entirely. So that's very weird. And very, very interesting to me. I mean, really interesting, because that deserves a backstory in its own. For my conclusion for this is that for their quest line, the other one would constantly guide the other one through their quest. So you would have to play one quest as Twin and then shift to Strider for the... yes, Strider. You would have to shift to Strider for the next quest, and then Twin would guide you through that one, and then you'd shift back to Twin, and Strider would guide you through that one, and it would be very interesting, and you could learn more about the Peace Syndicate through that. I'm really not all that involved with the Bytes quests. I'm doing it because, you know, rewards, XP, an extra pickaxe style. But I'm really not involved with the Bytes quests at all. There's a shadowy guy called the Nothing that speaks through a TV, and he's kind of rude to anyone who's not Bytes. He assumed there's another shadow organization he represents because he always says "we" in reference to himself. And, you know, he gives Bytes stuff whenever he does something he wants. I mean, it just kind of seems like classic bad guy with the Nothing. Also, what kind of a name is the Nothing? Because, like, that kind of just seems like it's a ripoff from Marvel's Nowhere. But even if it's not, the Nothing. I mean, it's kind of interesting, but you just tend to, in writing and stuff, and in really reading and things and role playing, you tend to see that a lot and tropes. Very big bad guy with some very odd name like the Nothing or something, or it's, you know, or yeah, I don't know. It's always something very mundane that's supposed to sound spooky, and you know, it just doesn't make any sense. But again, in conclusion, Bytes is a spindly guy with chrome hands who gets a full-fledged backstory and quests, including a guy called the Nothing who orders him to do stuff. Lennox Rose, who has a very shadowy backstory, a gun, consistently, a sentient rabbit who we have no idea how it came into an existence, who escaped an apparently very corrupt academy that we don't know about, has nothing. Bytes, who is Twin, who is a part of the Peace Syndicate, a faction we know nothing about at all, but has formed a major role in the island at this point, and can turn into two different people with a pair of glasses, and they're definitely two different people because they have two different personality types. Also, if he was a spy, I want to point out, it would say multifaceted master spy. He's a scout, which I agree needs a disguise too, but I feel like shifting into a different person would be more fitted for a spy, not a scout. He gets nothing in the quest lines. This lass gets nothing in the quest lines. He and she, or they, I don't know, because, you know, technically I guess they could just be trans too, and that's cool. You know, it does seem like they're different people to me. They get nothing. Both of them get nothing. Lennox Rose gets nothing. Bytes gets everything. By the way, even if Mouseskulls is just a remixed version of Meowskulls, she also gets nothing. We see nothing. I mean, she's got an entire song too, but it just says sit back, sit still, so I don't really get the point of that one. Regardless, she could have something too. I don't really care for the character at all, but because it's just a remixed version. But she also gets nothing. No, not even a character on the map or anything, which neither of these guys get at all either. Grizz has a backstory, so that makes sense. Paradigm has a backstory, so that makes sense. So after that, you have a remixed character, basically, to get you on my side once and for all. Paradigm has backstory, so let's ignore her. For now, at least. Grizz has a backstory, or at least somewhat of a fleshed out backstory, so we can cross him off the list. She's just a remixed version of Meowskulls, so we can cross her off the list. Lennox Rose has a very interesting backstory that we know nothing about, making her a top contender for a backstory and a full fleshed out quest line. Twin can turn into two different people and is a part of a very shadowy thing that's been controlling the island since like a season or two ago that we have known nothing about. Gets nothing. Bytes. Chrome hands. And has a weird necklace. Gets everything. I get it. He doesn't have a backstory, so he should have a backstory. But this backstory should probably be portrayed in a disc or something, because I would be interested to hear his backstory from a singing position from one of these discs or something, because that's kind of where I put him as a character. Very interesting backstory, but not enough for a full-on quest line that like lasts like the entire season, because all he's got is a necklace, a thing that says hollow, and some chrome hands. If they added a thing that said, I was controlled by the nothing, and then I was strong, you know what I mean? That would work. For me. I don't need a whole quest line for the dude. Just because he's got chrome hands. The other people that have a somewhat hint at a backstory that they never get any more hint to, I'm annoyed that they don't get any more hint to. I'm sorry this rant lasted like... How long did this rant last? I intended it to... I intended this to last like 5 minutes. It lasted 32. Whoops. I guess this promises you... I guess this shows you just how much I care about random characters getting backstories. Regardless, I think they really should get a backstory. And if you agree, please comment down below and validate me. I'm just joking. I don't need absolute validation, but if you agree with me, go ahead and say so down in the comments. Because the dude's got chrome hands and skinny legs. He deserves a music disc. Deserves a music disc. Not, I see you sitting down over there just waiting for me to finish. Yep, just checking the clock, yep. But Bytes, yes, he deserves a music disc. Not really like the full thing, the full kit and caboodle of quests here. Anyways, if you agree, comment down below. If you don't, also comment down below. Constructive criticism is fine, you know. So yeah, that's about all I wanted to say today. Thank you for watching me just be angry at Bytes, and thank you for watching me be angry at code that didn't get a plot for like a half an hour. Anyways, goodbye. Thank you for watching. This has been Communique, the Red Channel. See ya.